Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play LOTRO with me, Balthelion. So today we're picking up inside the Merkeeves in Mirkwood. So we've just done the prologue to get us establishing a beachhead, and now we can actually do the landscape proper now. So we've taken over the Merkeeves, it kind of belongs to us, and we're just kind of getting rid of the last bits of like orcish encampments basically. I'm going to finish off cleaning up this area before we move deeper into Mirkwood as we attempt to assault Dol Guldur. So, we need to grab a load of quests off these guys. So, collect tokens of Dol Guldur from Goblin Scouts. So, we're going to need them guys again. Just mount up because it's a bit easier. So, second quest. We need to plant a ballot at Falug. Just make sure you tag the stable master here as well.
How can I be of
Just so you've got access to that later. And this guy wants me to do what?
Stay a moment.
Defeat Darkwing spies and defeat Warg scouts. So it's just three simple quests to begin with. But the epic quest itself is to go talk to Braglin at Imlad Lalaith. So that's back across the river. So if we just quickly do this, and we'll have sunshine again. Hooray! So he's the guy who sent us down to the boats to begin with. We're going to catch up with the storyline now. So this is the proper chapter-based storytelling. So at the moment, you know, if you remember from previous parts of the epic story, we've captured Mazog. The enemy has captured some of the dwarves, and we want to kind of do like a prisoner transfer to try and get some of them back. So talk to Braglin and travel to meet the members of the company. So we're basically forming our own company. I don't think they've name dropped what we're calling it at the moment. We've kind of got our own little mission rather than just the military assault. So this is a solo quest, so if you're in a fellowship you can have to ditch for it.
The golden host of Laurelin has crossed the river Anduin, but now a second smaller party must follow in its wake. These are the elves of the Hidden Guard, chosen to bring the prisoner Mazog to the gates of Dol Guldur.
So there we go, we've been name dropped as the Hidden Guard, is what we're forming now. So if we follow Braglin, he'll introduce us. This way, Atlanio, I will introduce you to the Hidden Guard. And it's quite appropriate actually that I'm an elf joining these bunch of elves. The Hidden Guard is composed of 5 elves, chosen for their skill in various disciplines. You too will be a member of the Hidden Guard. I know your help will be invaluable. So here we go. Allow me to introduce Radir, Sigilef and Archdor, 3 members of the Hidden Guard. So I can now talk to all 3 of them and they're just going to introduce themselves a bit. I am Sigilef Atlaniel, and I know already of your deeds. You are welcome to accompany us upon this errand, though I have my doubts as to its wisdom. It is a sorrow that the dwarves have lost their own to the cages of the enemy, but that is the way of war. Returning Mazog to his allies seems indefensible to me. I said this back when we captured the bastard. If Lord Celeborn and Lady Galadriel see value in it, it is not the place of Sigilef to question. So she doesn't agree, but she's going along with it because, you know, the higher up said so. It's basically, I totally agree with you, Sigilef. So next up, we have Radir. So it is a pleasure to meet you, Atlaniel. I know that you will be a great asset to us upon this errand. If we are to bring the Orc leader to Dol Guldur with the hope that we can exchange his freedom for that of the dwarf prisoners, we must do so in secret. Our numbers are not so great that we can resist a determined effort to take him from us before reaching the fortress. I didn't accept that. Continue. And then last up we've got Archdor. My brother Faingris was slain by orcs that came down from the mountains following the company that sought refuge in the Golden Wood recently. So the fellowship coming down from Moria. His brother was one of those people. And I desire to end Mazog's life myself! Exclamation mark. It pains me to know that we must turn him over to his allies, and I have argued long against it already. Agree with you, mate. I petitioned Lord Celeborn to let me accompany the group transporting the prisoner, but he denied my request. Only once the Lady Galadriel spoke to him did he change his mind. I do not know what she said, but I am grateful to her for it. Now I will keep a close eye upon Mazog for the duration of the journey, and if he gives me the slightest reason, I will take my vengeance upon him. There we go. So that's the first 3 hours of our company. The Elves of the Hidden Guard were chosen for their varied expertise in a number of areas. Sigilith for her skill in melee combat, and Radir for his expert tracking ability. Were it my decision, I would have let Archidor join the main force of the Meladrim rather than the Hidden Guard, given the recent tragedy of his brother's death, but I am sure Lady Galadriel has her own reasons for speaking on his behalf, and believes he will be an important part of the Hidden Guard. I will bring you to the rest of the company, Edlaniel. Come with me. I will introduce you to Isuriel and Coucheron. Isuriel was offered the strategic oversight of the Golden Host, but she turned it down. I do not know why exactly, but I believe she thought others might be better suited for leadership. There we go. So we've got Coucheron. Welcome, Edlaniel. We are the Hidden Guard formed by order of the Lord and Lady, and it is our mission to bring Mazog to the gates of Dol Guldur, there to trade his life for those of the prisoners held in that fortress. Secrecy is our watchword, and surprise our ally. Isuriel has told me already of your great deeds. I know you will be a vital member of the Hidden Guard on this journey. And then last but not least, Isuriel. So she's the commander-in-chief of our little company. My Gavanan, Edlaniel. It is good to see you again, and I welcome you to the ranks of the Hidden Guard. The knives of Sigilith, the bow of Coucheron, the path knowledge of Radir, and the strong will of Archidor will see this mission through, and the friendship between Moria and Lothlorien will be stronger for it. Let the enemy quake when he learns of the approach of the Golden Host, and he will think nothing of the Hidden Guard until we be at the gates of Dol Guldur and demand the prisoners kept there in exchange for the life of Mazog. And then we talk to the boatkeeper, Kerchus. It will be my pleasure to guide the Hidden Guard across the river on this, the first step of their journey. May it end in victory. So now we've gone across the river with our little group. We have made the crossing at Laniel. The dwarves should be just ahead with their captive. Let us greet them and discuss the plans for our journey. I hope Rowan and the dwarves understand the importance of this errand's secrecy. The dwarves of the Iron Garrison are not known for their subtlety. The dwarves and their captive are just ahead. I fear they have been waiting a while. Hail, dwarves of the Iron Garrison. I am Radir of Laurelin. You already know of my ally Edlaniel, a Runekeeper of great worth and bravery. Hello. I am Broin, son of Broger, and these are the brothers Greyhammer. We go to Dol Guldur to trade the Orc Mazog for the freedom of my cousin Bori. Am I to understand you know the paths of this unpleasant forest? I know the ways of Mirkwood, for I trod them long ago, to the very foundations of Dol Guldur. The elves of my company, the Hidden Guard, will bring Mazog there by these paths.
You will not make it, League. The orcs of Mirkwood will descend upon you and free me.
Quiet, prisoner! Be silent, filth!
Latu Gadmahazaz, Bagoo!
He is frightened, though it be not of us. Think you so, Isuriel? It is the strength of we dwarves that frightens him. Surely it is. No, Broin. Mazog is frightened of being brought to Dol Guldur. But why? Are his allies not there? What could cause him to fear that place? That makes me all the more eager to bring him there. Let him quake upon the road. Come here, Edlaniel. Private chat time. At last we are underway, Edlaniel. If you have faith in these elves, this Hidden Guard, then I will as well. May our journey through Mirkwood be swift, and our return be the swifter, with Bori and the other captives hale and hearty. So there we go. We've met everyone. We've established what we're doing. Hand that in.
For good or ill, we now have no choice but to embark
So,
upon
chapter
this
2
journey.
then. So we now need to
The success of
find
the
a
hidden
coffer
God's
in
hand
one
will
of these
depend,
two
I
camps.
think,
So,
on
Mortal
secrecy.
Uda or Asher's Malfalug, containing information about Mazog. And we need to defeat the Talgash orcs or goblins in the Murkeeves. So, accept that. So it's basically the camp to the north or the camp to the south. Either one is good. And we'll go north. Just because I prefer going to that camp. They need to keep our eye open for Warg Scouts and Darkwing Spies. And also craft nodes, because why not? There's one over there to my left. But while we're casually making our way through Mirkwood, I think I'll start discussing as well the trait lines that I've gone in while I'm killing stuff as well. So as I mentioned before, I've gone for the Runekeeper's lightning line. I'll show you the fire line later in Mirkwood. But the yellow one is the lightning line, the red line is the fire line, and the blue line is the healing line. So Solitary Thunder, Cleansing Flame, and Benediction of Peace, respectively. I'll grab that. So I've gone pretty much down the key traits that are interesting here. I've also dipped in to get Mending Verse out of the blue line, and although I'd normally say stick to whatever your primary trait line is until the point you've got the capstones at the end, and then consider maybe diverting a couple of points into other trait trees. I think this is one of the exceptions to the rule, because having a little heal skill available to you, especially by leveling in the lower levels, can be quite handy. So you can get some nice little heals over time with that. So I think that helps you out while leveling as the Runekeeper, particularly in the lower levels. So I'll just kill this guy. But yeah, the other traits I've gone for, I've gone for Ceaseless Argument, which gives me one of my bread and butter skills. So my two bread and butter skills are Ceaseless Argument and Scribe Spark. So these both give, or potentially can both stick on a debuff once you trait later in the trait line, which is the two special effects. So these guys, the one on the left and the one on the right, they're both caused by those two bread and butter skills. When I got both, I don't want to go in there. So we scout here. I'm not sure if it's told me this looks dangerous as hell. But yeah, you don't go in that door with the orange guys. It might have said it. I don't know. But normally, if you try to approach that, it goes, no, this way looks too dangerous. Try and find another way in. And we can just go around the gate that we got in earlier. And it's fine, it's just got regular guys in. Now granted, you could fight those, but solo you're probably going to get absolutely butthurt. So we just kill these guys, sneak in. There we go, so we need 8 of these orcs or goblins. We need that Warg Scout that's in the background as well. There we go, so what else have I got? I've gone for critical defense as well. Might be a bit less useful for you in the lower levels, so you might want to hold off putting points in there until later. So you might only want to put the 4 points in there to get that trait. The last trait in there, Confounding Principles, is the Shocking Touch Daze. So it increases the duration and increases the damage. I don't really see much point in that, because if I go over here, so you can briefly stun them with this skill, 20-second cooldown, but you've got more means of stunning people later on. You don't really need the crowd control in the earlier levels of the game as much, and then once you start getting a bit later in the game, you know, we're going to end up with Vivid Imagery, which is currently a 7 target AoE. You've got my Runestone, which can stun people, which is unlimited target AoE. I just feel those are more preferable for stunning people, so I don't really value that trait very much. So we want to ignore those guys because those are the orange ones. Oh, hello, something stunned me. Or was that the poison effect? That might have just been the poison. I thought something had ganked me. So in the second tier, I've just gone straight up for 5 points in tactical critical chance. So this is just 5% crit chance with any tactical skills, so not any like spell effects essentially. That's useful at all levels, because that will take you potentially as well beyond the cap once you start getting to the higher levels. But even on low levels, it just means you're more likely to get random crits. I'm just sneaking around the left hand side just because I'm a bit blind to the left side of the screen at the minute and I don't want to pull more than I'm intending. Third tier, what have I gone for? I've gone for the full Gripe Runestone because, as I've mentioned before, it's quite nice having that unlimited target AoE stun. That could be quite handy, just slow people down. Oh god, well, I'm going to have to... That's alright. I thought I was going to pull that guy as well. That could have been a bit of a problem. Let's just get out this danger bit of being a bit low in health. There we go. So that is definitely useful. And on the other side, we've got this chain of traits through the next 3 tiers. So, Thunderous Words means... Oh, hello. Orcs just found me. Lightning skills have a chance to briefly buff a lightning skill's critical chance. So, I think it starts off with a percentage chance, and at the high levels it's a 100% chance. If I'm remembering the trait correctly. Or is it increase the buff damage? I don't know, but 20% chance on every lightning skill to buff my Fury of Storm, which basically means lightning skills, critical hit chance. So lightning skills are more likely to critical hit, and they're more reliant on the critical damage as well, because that's where the lightning skills really start hitting hard, so that's always really good. In the next tree, I could upgrade my Runestone to do more damage and also apply a slowing effect on mobs. It's not necessarily bad, but it's not as important. You've got better stuff to spend your points on, so I only go with the starting point for now. It may be later on that I might decide I want to come back and put some extra points in there, but I might be interested in cross-speccing into different trees and using those points in there instead. Let's sneak around and kill this warg. So I've ignored that. I've gone for Epic Conclusion, which is a big splat lightning damage, which does lots of damage. If it crits, it's fantastic, but it does more damage per attunement consumed. And attunement's actually something I've not spoken about since I started on the Runekeeper, but this is basically what this bar is on the screen here. I'll explain that more in a second. There's a lot of mobs in this camp. The second trait then, so Harsh Debate. So lightning skills have a chance to briefly buff tactical damage. So on every lightning skill, 20% chance to increase tactical damage by 15%. So that's damage for any tactical skill, so any spells basically. So again, that's very nice to have as a buff. Right, I need to... Ah, it's alright, I can put him on his own, it's fine. So we got that. Then in the next line I've got Vivid Imagery, so again an AoE target stun, which is very nice. So I will go for a point in that just to get that skill. And then the third trait thing, so Closing Remarks. It increases the proc chance of Thunderous Words and Harsh Debate. So that's the 2 previous buffs. So those buffs are the ones that give me those little lightning sparky hands, one to the left and one to the right. I can't remember which one's which. So Closing Remarks means they're more likely to proc and be available. And when both buffs become active on the Runekeeper, they become one buff that can be consumed by Epic Conclusion to increase its damage and reduce its cooldown. So basically, when I see the icon above to the left and the icon above to the right at the same time, you'll hear that crackling effect, and you'll see the lightning going between the two, and it'll be like more of a blue kind of lightning than like a plain white lightning. And basically means when I've got that, that's a really good time to press Epic Conclusion, because it should, hopefully, if it crits, do pretty disgusting damage. And I should probably consider killing this boss. I assume I need the boss. I don't know if we need the boss yet, actually. Let's kill him anyway. I think he might be the round 2 quest, but sod it. So there we go. So one has procced on the left hand side, and I've conveniently managed to tag somebody else. There we go. So I've got both effects above the head now. So now we Epic Conclusion, and it didn't really crit. So we did 1500. So there we go. So we killed them. I'll probably need the birdie. Let's kill that. I'll pull the archer behind him as well. Ooh. Right, kill this guy, and then we'll look at more traits. Right, so he's dead. Is there a coffer in this one? I'm sure there's meant to be. What do I also need here? Collect up some goblin tokens. I think we can go around. Oh, hello, birdie. It's just come drifting down the hillside. Yeah, I'll have you then. Oh, resisted? How dare you? Oh, they're starting to respawn now. We need to watch out. Yeah, ignore the big ass troll on the right hand side. We don't need him. Sneak around here. Get up the top of the hill. Any shinies up here? Oh, there's a bird on the left. We want him. There we go. Right, so we should be pretty safe here. So, where was I? So, I've gone for that 1 point in vivid imagery because that's really nice as an AoE stun, in addition to those. Then tier 6, we've got Furious Storms. So, lightning skills place a stack of Fury of the Storm, which is a buff, on the Runekeeper, increasing their critical damage of their next attack. Critical hits will consume this effect. So, I think there's like a 20, 40, 60, 80, 100% chance of getting this when you use a lightning skill. I've gone for 5 ranks in this, so I've got every lightning skill will give me 1 stack of this buff every time. And this stacks up to 5 times according to the tooltip. So if I use 5 skills, I get 5 stacks. If I crit the 5th skill or 5th skill onwards, I get disgusting damage. If the second one crits, I get a bit more damage than usual. If the third one crits, a bit more damage than that, and so on and so forth. So basically, it's just a good one for generically increasing your damage. And then also, Vivid Imagery, you can increase the targets on that. I think it is 6 by default. I've got a point in there. Because why the hell not? It would be nice if you got the cooldown as well. Again, this is one that's personal preference. You might feel you don't necessarily need that point in there, but I've got nothing better to stick it in for now, so I'll just put it in there. And then the last 2 ones are the capstones. So Concession and Rebuttal is just a buff skill, so it grants additional effects on those various skills on the right hand side. Sustaining Bolt returns power. Writ of Lightning applies the max rung of the debuff on its first one. Epic Conclusion leaves a trailing damage over time for a portion of the damage dealt, and Shocking Words slows the targets for 5 seconds after being stunned. I don't really care about that much, so I'm not really fussed about it. It does attune you 6 towards fire damage on your attunement bar as well, which can be nice, I guess. And the other one is Flashing Images. So for a short duration after using Steady Hands to switch attunement, so it's basically a flip skill that turns your high damage attunement into high healing attunement, or vice versa. Using a skill which returns you to neutral attunement will activate the Steady Hands effect again. So we have to talk about attunement to understand this. So my bar over here is basically, it starts at 0 and I can either go 10 towards damage or 10 towards healing. So damage is on the left and is the red one, healing is on the right and it's the green one. Now I'm trying to remember what they are. I think the damage one is called Dagor, meaning battle, hence Dagor Lad outside the Black Gate, and I believe the healing one is called Nestad, off the top of my head, citation needed. But using your various skills, you'll see on the tooltips that it will say, for example, attunes 3 red, or over here attunes 2 green, or if I was to go this one, it says returns you to neutral attunement, so it consumes all of it. Epic Conclusion does that as well, etc, etc. So it can kind of like adjust you up there, and some skills do more damage or do more healing if you're more attuned to that effect, basically. So ideally, when Steady Hands comes, not Steady Hands, when Flashing Images is traded, and you have steady hands available to quickly switch your attunement, you'd want to build it up pretty high. So let's say you're on +10 battle. You use steady hands, which is that one there, to switch you to the other attunement, so you suddenly become 10 healing based. If you used a skill which consumes all of your healing power, it would return you to 0 normally, but because you've still got that trait, it would send you back to 10 damage. So it's a way of quickly switching to the other attunement, doing a really good powerful skill there, and then going back to whatever you were doing originally, which can be nice. Or you could stay in healing, do a couple of minor little healing skills to top up someone, and then hit that big skill to switch back, because that lasts for 6 seconds. If you can get in like a quick skill or two as well, and then hit that return to neutral to swing you back the other direction, it's very nice. Or while you're healing, you could do this to do a quick bit of damage, but it's probably less useful that way around.